Good morning, and thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. Today, I want to share with you some information about domestic violence and those people that are going through so many issues in life with domestic violence. I want to let you know that you can come out of this issue, and there is a saving grace for you as well as myself. Um, I want to share with you my story in Identity Crisis, one of my books I've written, Identity Crisis Second Edition by Mae Burrell. And my other book is called Broken Pieces. And I write my story to share with you, to let you know God is real. Domestic violence is real too, but you can be saved out of it by trusting God and getting the help that you need to come out of it. The song that you hear is by Jessica Reed. It's called Better. I like this song because I can relate to some of the issues in this song of how I felt as an individual when I went through domestic violence. I was a bitter person. I was a broken person, and I was a person that didn't trust anyone because of all the issues that I went through and all the fighting that I had to go through. So listening to this song, I it helps me to realize that no matter what I went through, God has helped me come out of it. So this is a beautiful song and it does touch my heart. But I want to share with you some information out of my book called Identity Crisis for women that have gone through domestic violence. I'm sharing the story of my mom's life as I see it when I was a child. In one of the sections of my book, I talk about how life was when I was a child. It was a lot of bad times in my life. I watched my father beat my mother every night that he was at home, every weekend. My father knocked my mother down the stairs. I heard yelling up the stairs. He threw items across the room. It scared us every weekend. From one day to the next, we didn't know what was going to happen in our home life, and it was a tragedy every weekend. We could not remember some of the things that should have been a joyful time in our life. We didn't have that. I cannot remember my mother's smile because she didn't smile much. She was a soft-spoken woman. My mother walked around with her head held down. She didn't see no hope in her life. She didn't go out and hang out with her friends. As I can remember, the only friend that my mom had was Miss Dean. Miss Dean was our next door neighbor, same age as my mom. She had a family of her own. She was married, and each time my mom or my dad went into this domestic violence situation, Miss Dean came to our rescue. She was there for my mother. She also wiped my mother's wounds. She bandaged her up. She washed her face. She loved on her. She sat there with my mother as she cried throughout these circumstances. She loved on us as children. I see Miss Dean as being a second mother to us. This woman, I love her. Miss Dean is no longer with us this day. She's passed when she was 80 some years old. And I talk about Miss Dean because there's not many women that will reach out to another woman to console her in the way Miss Dean consoled my mother. And she consoled us as children, took us on as if we were her children. And it was a blessing. Miss Dean's husband was there for my mother as well and would stop my father from beating on my mother. But I am 52 years old, and back then when I was a child in the 70s, no one called the police. Everybody in the family would sweep stuff underneath the rug and as if it didn't happen. But it scarred us to the point where I grew up thinking love was abuse. I was abused by the hands of my father as well. I was raped. I was molested by my father. I grew up and married a man who was abusive toward me. So I was confused, misunderstood, didn't know what to do in life, could not be a good mother because I didn't know what being a good mother was because my mom, unfortunately, died due to the hands of domestic violence. It killed her, and I didn't have that joy of having my mother to teach me how to be a good mother, but I tried my best to be a good mother, and now a good grandmother. I want to love on my children, but I'm telling you this to let you know that no matter what life throws your way, no matter what circumstance you're in, no matter what you have gone through in your life as a child, you can come out of it. You can grow from it. You can be stronger because of it. And you can teach someone else how to fight back. It doesn't have to be physically, but mentally. Fight back for your survival. Domestic violence is real. It is not a game. It is nothing to take chances on and say, oh, it'll be okay, wash it down the road. No, it will touch a person for life. But it is what you carry throughout your life that affects your life. Do you want this to tear you down, to turn you toward drugs, to turn you toward the streets? Or do you want to take away from that pain and that hurt that someone put in your life to strengthen you, to guide you, to make you stronger than what you think you are, to reach back for someone else, to tell someone else it doesn't have to be this way? And this is what I do in my book, Identity Crisis, second edition. I'm trying to tell you what I went through, not to shame my family, not to call on someone for a pity party. I'm not sharing my story for sympathy. I am sharing my story to save somebody else, to save another little 6-year-old girl, to save that 9-year-old girl like me when I was molested, to teach her, yes, someone hurt you in your past, but don't grow up and let that hurt stop you. Fight for your future. Fight for your stability. Fight for your, future in life. This is the reason why I share my story. Many people have read my book, then they tell me, "Oh my God, Mary, I don't see how you did it. I do not see how you were able to go through all of that and be the person you are today." Well, I didn't do it by myself. I did it through prayers. I did it through crying. I did it through talking to the Lord every day of my life. And, mm, you know, I called on my church, and some people in my church wasn't there. Some people in my church criticized me. I share a story here of judgment where people in my church criticized my sister, who was a teen mother, and they didn't even know she was a victim of rape by the hands of my father. You know, the church is supposed to be there to help us. And there are some members in the church that are there to hurt us. But we have to look past those individuals and still trust God for what He has in store for us. So I didn't let that hurt me and stop me from trusting God, and neither did my sister. So I wanted to let someone know today that even though you have experienced that abuse, and you might be still going through some form of abuse, and I don't care if it's verbal or if it's physical or mentally, abuse is abuse. Please, by all means, get out, get help. Your family needs you. Your family loves you. I'm quite sure your family has talked to you the way I talk to my family member who is experiencing some of the same things that I talk about, being abused at the hands of someone that you think that loves you, physically or mentally. No one wants to go through that, and I don't want to see anyone go through it. But I pray to God that you find a way of escape, and that you listen to those that love you, those parents, those cousins, those friends that say, "Girl, enough is enough." You have your whole life ahead of you. You have beautiful children that love you. You have a future waiting for you. Your destiny is calling you, and you have someone else that's coming up behind you that will need you. So by all means, get out. I don't take it lightly, and I don't want you to take it lightly. God loves you. I love you enough to write my story, to share with you. So please purchase my book. They're on Amazon, and be blessed. Share this story with someone else. God did it for me. He did it for me. He showed me I was loved and that I was not used goods. So I trust God that everything will work out in your life. I apologize, my phone is ringing. So please, I love you with the love of God, and I'm trusting God for a greater outcome in your life. And have a wonderful day. Thank you.